few years back, local brewer Bell's Brewery released a series of beers. It's based on a musical composition by Gustav Holtz. My rules for this: first, I crack open the beer. Second rule, I start the song. And then I start the movie while I drink the rest of the beer. I am back on my tour of the solar system. The next beer on our list is Saturn, the bringer of old age. It is a malt beverage aged in oak bourbon barrel casks. It is an 11.5, so it's the highest of all of them I've had so far. I'll be honest, it's already 10 o'clock at night. I'm kind of not looking forward to doing 3 more of these, but I'm gonna push through. Especially since the next 2 movies are actually ones that I really like and will enjoy. For Saturn, the movie pairing is Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice starring Michael Keaton, my favorite Batman. We'll get right to that after we do the song and the beer tasting. Let's get the music going. This one starts out kind of quiet, it sounds like, and it is the longest of all of the songs. So I'm gonna go ahead and crack the beer and pour it and do the tasting while that's going. Like all the other ones, that still smells great. That has a nice bright orangey brown color to it. Let's see how it tastes. It's all right. Cheers. I'm gonna keep enjoying this beer until we start the movie. You may or may not also see my kitty Zool sitting here on the couch next to me. You know what this one actually really reminds me of is Ghostbusters. The score for Ghostbusters. I can hear a lot of that in this work. Yeah, that sounds like something out of... This is one of the longer of the songs. I think this one tops off at just over 9 minutes. We still got a couple minutes to go in the song. The next 2 are fairly short. I think that's about the end of the song. Let's go ahead and boot up the movie and get watching Beetlejuice. I think that's probably the 3rd time I said it there, so perfect timing. You might question why Beetlejuice was chosen for Saturn. I don't know when the last time you've watched it is. There are scenes where Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis try to leave the house after they've become ghosts. And when they step outside, they find themselves in a barren wasteland with these giant snake things. At one point, they do refer to that as being Saturn. So there you go. There's your connection. This opening scene with the miniature town going through it. It's pretty cool. Spider climbing up over the house. I know one person who definitely would not like that. I don't think she's watching tonight, but Ashley, if you're watching this later, my guess is this is not your favorite movie. It is a cool little town that this is filmed in. I don't know if it's real or if they built it just for this production or if it's a backlot somewhere. It is kind of cool. It seems to be surrounded by just hills and woods and nothing else really.
Come with me down to the store.
That's a cool house too. I'm wondering if they found that house or again if they built it special for this movie. It is very Tim Burton-y, but also does look like it could be a house somewhere, so it's hard to say. It's got a lot of weird angles to it. The roof joins up at a lot of weird different places. I like that the weight of the dog is holding up the whole car for that 1 second. Tiny little dog. Not a very big car, it's a Volvo. And then right here, this is the scene where he goes outside the house and almost immediately he's in another space, large, desolate wasteland. They make reference to that being Saturn at some point. So that's why Saturn beer people. So he goes out the door and she says he's been gone for hours. I forget if she says a specific amount of hours, but he's been gone for hours. To him, it's only been a few seconds. I'm wondering how long it actually is between their their death and when they come home, and B, how long it is before the house is sold, because we kind of jump right to that in a minute here.
What do we got here? The maintenance.
A lot of obituaries for that one little town. Oh, granted, it could be an afterlife newspaper because it does say please welcome. He does have time to add a funeral scene to the model, so I guess that does indicate some time has passed.
Hey, Jane, up here!
See, and then the Dietzes are moving in. Was there no showing ever? Though they are kind of acting like they're seeing the house for the first time, so maybe they bought it sight unseen or just from pictures. Very Tim Burton-esque skull there.
You don't know what's out there.
Again, a very Tim Burton-esque creature. Sounds like someone in the neighborhood is setting off fireworks. I don't know if you can hear that or not in the background, but...
Guys, the bioexorcist. Troubled by the living, is that the problem and not the solution? Unhappy with eternity, having difficulty adjusting? Call Betelgeuse.
So the title is spelled like Beetlejuice, like beetle and juice. But in the movie, like the ad that they have and in the subtitles just now, they spell it like the star, Beetlejuice.
So, say it once, say it twice, third time the charm, and remember, I'll eat it. Like, you want me to eat, I'll swallow anything. You want me to swallow, so come on down now. Chew on a dog.
So it's interesting, like with that commercial, there are times where they are in the miniature, which means they had to build that miniature as a miniature but at full scale. I don't know if that made sense or not, but it made sense to me, so that's all that matters.
This is what happens when you die. This is what happens when you die. That is what happens when he dies. And that is what happens when they die. It's all very personal. And I'll tell you something. If I knew then, I wouldn't have had my little accident.
Take the handbook and go to the 6th door.
So Ortho makes a joke, I think, can't remember if it's already happened or if it's later in the movie, how if you commit suicide, you end up working civil service in the afterlife. And she just indicated that she committed suicide and she's working civil service. It's all very dark humor.
How do I look? There are no mirrors on this side.
This guy apparently got run over repeatedly
See, I've been feeling a little
by
flat.
several things. Everyone else, their physical form seems to represent their... Well, but then there are also skeletons, and I can't imagine somebody died as a skeleton. They would have become a skeleton over time, but most of the people in this afterlife their physical form seems to represent their death. And granted, they had a car accident and drowned, but they seem to be perfectly fine. I'm assuming they drowned. When they first go into their house, they are still wet, but they're totally dry now, so I'm not sure. It must have been the drowning, not the car accident that killed them, because otherwise they'd look more messed up, I would think. Granted, yes, they are the main characters of the movie that we're following. Yeah, that was a big one. I don't know if you heard that, but went on for several seconds.
How long do you suppose we were waiting there?
3 months. I'd almost given up on you. I was about to leave. I do have others.
So this is the thing. Again, they're back in their house, but it's been 3 months since they went through the door to meet with their caseworker.
Well, we wanted to frighten you so you would move out. Looks like we did, Barbara.
So they've already shown him outside of the grave. I don't totally understand why they have to dig into the table. But again, the production design of making this all look like model parts that they're in, it's kind of cool.
I had a card around here somewhere. Here, I have to kill. Here, hold it for a minute.
I do think it's pretty great that Beetlejuice, when you picture Beetlejuice, when you think of Beetlejuice, you usually picture him in the striped suit, and that is what he's most known for. And he does wear that in the movie, but he has several costume changes throughout this whole movie, and several different looks. I think it's interesting that that's the one that people associate with him, is because it's so different. Like, you don't see that on normal people. Like, the outfit he's wearing right now, I mean, it's musty, it's dirty, it's mossy, but it's like an outfit in theory that you could see on a normal person. It doesn't look like a costume. And so then when you do think of him, you think of him in his striped suit, and when you see people in costume as him, that's the outfit you usually see people in, because that's what people think of him. I do like this where he actually has a quick costume change and he's dressed the exact same as Alex Baldwin's character.
Come, look, we've been to Saturn. Hey, I've been to Saturn. Sandworms. You hate them, right?
It's like, Beetlejuice is not the hero of this movie. He's actually the villain of the movie. Yeah, they go on to make like a cartoon with him as the main character. You kind of have to separate the two things in a way. The character of the cartoon is not the character of the movie. The character of the movie is the villain of the movie. He is a very bad person. He's not someone you really should aspire to be like. I actually know a guy who played Beetlejuice at the Universal Studios in Florida for a while, but I tend to think of him as more playing the character of the cartoon than the character of this movie. It's very toned down. It's not like the character of this movie. The dinner scene. It's the scene everybody thinks of when they think of this movie. And of course, Harry Belafonte's Banana Bunch song.
I would rather talk about.
There's just so many great actors in this movie, and really doing what they do. You gotta love that they're all willing to put their all into it. Catherine O'Hara, brilliant. I don't think I've ever seen her in anything where she wasn't brilliant. It is kind of interesting how quickly the people are willing to not really believe it was a paranormal experience, even though they were literally possessed to sing. Why would they put instructions on how to do a seance exorcism in the book for the recently deceased? Seems a little counterproductive to me, but yeah, that's
From over here, if you could get me out over there, then maybe we could talk or something. But, you know, in order to do that, you gotta say my name 3 times.
What's your name?
Well, I can't tell you.
Why not?
But you know why? Because if I tell you, you tell your friends are calling me in the morning all the time. I gotta show up in shopping centers for openings, sign autographs and shit like that. That makes my life a hell, okay? A living hell. But maybe
There are some weird rules in this movie that aren't so laid out. One of them is apparently he can't tell her his name, but he did that commercial where he said his name for Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis. So I don't totally understand why he can't
turn around and look behind you.
say his name for her. So also apparently you don't have to say it specifically in succession, because she says words between it, saying it the first time and saying it a second time, and he says just one more. So it is kind of odd, because during the movie people say it 3 times but not together, and it doesn't seem to do anything. But here somebody says it at least twice but with words in between, and he indicates that they only need to say it once more for it to work. So I don't, there are some weird rules that aren't exactly laid out here.
Are you? Help them, please.
This is the first time we see him in the striped suit.
You gotta help me.
What?
Look, how much you might call an illegal alien?
Beetlejuice.
It's showtime.
You can see Jack Skellington on the top of his hat there. And now he's out of the striped suit. That's the outfit he wears for the rest of the movie. So interesting that that's the look that really stuck.
Beetlejuice!
So she said it twice there, and he said it once. So obviously it has to be the same person who says it all 3 times. What's stopping him from saying it right now, though? Bill just made him small in the model, but he could still say it. So does Beetlejuice have to hear it being said? Is that part of the deal? Again, it's just rules that are very ill-defined.
Shake, 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 Sinora, shake your body liner. Shake, 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 Sinora, shake it all the time.
And that's it for Beetlejuice. So right now it's about 11:30. Got one more movie for the evening. 2 more beers, but I think I'm gonna kind of cheat them and have them together. So yeah, I will see you for the next one. Have a good evening.